Hey ladies, this is Underwired. Welcome to the show designed to uplift and support women all over the world.
Hey, I'm Lindsay. They call me the kindness kahuna and the imaginal connector. I love puppies, travel, great coffee, and all of you out there who love humanity.
I'm Betsy Wiersma, a serial entrepreneur and lover of doing good and having fun. My passion is connecting hearts and souls with art, ideas, and adventures.
Hey, I'm Shay Sparks. As an energetic catalyst and fearless communicator, I love to have great conversations with amazing people.
And I'm Sunny, mom of four, here to shed light on what really matters. Together, we're Underwired. And now for the show.
Welcome to the Underwired podcast, where we uplift and support women everywhere. We are so excited to have you with us today, and we are so thankful that you have chosen to be here, to listen, to watch, however you are consuming this. We are excited to be here, excited that you are here. And we always like to kick off with something really fun and interesting about what we do, is that we have a secret word that we kind of throw out there, and we'll see if you're able to catch it. But in our first segment, we always like to start with the letter B. So for our B segment today, Sunny, take it away.
All right, thanks, ladies. So there is somebody right outside my door here, like leaf blowing. So I don't know, maybe I'll invite him in later to join the party. So if you hear that, you know, it is what
for blower, Sunny. B is for blower. That's how you got the B word. Oh, yeah.
For blower. Oh, we'll leave that there. No, okay. So B today, I want to talk about brave or being brave. Okay. So on this show, we want to be as honest as possible with you guys. We all have stuff that's going on in our lives. And instead of like hiding and, you know, just kind of throwing things under the rug, or so to speak, it's, you know, we want to just bring it out in the open because we're all struggling with different things. And so I had something happen to me this week, and I think a lot of people are probably going through this. And I had an opportunity to be brave. And I think I chose to be brave, which is why we're talking about it in today's segment. I don't know if anyone, you know, with your jobs, if you have had a sudden change in your job. So that could mean either you were let go from your job or something happened and you needed to resign or whatever. But that happened to me this week. So a company that I've worked for almost 4 years. It was very, very kind of abrupt. I wasn't expecting it. But at the same time, what it did was it like all these emotions started to come up, right? Because for me, at least when I work with a company, I get to know them. Like, it's really important. Like I want to feel like we're more family than just some sort of like work relationship. Right. And so it was kind of like losing, you know, part of your family. And it just happened very, very quickly. And I decided based on, you know, some decisions that were made that I needed to step away. So ultimately it was my decision. I still love everybody over there. So if anyone's looking at my LinkedIn profile, no, I still love everybody over there at the company that I work for. But this brings up a really interesting conversation about how to handle times like this. You know, we've just come out of, and hopefully we're completely out of it, but this kind of shadow that's been cast on our society with people, you know, working from home and then being let go pretty quickly for reasons that, you know, companies can't necessarily, you know, plan for and don't mean to have happen. But if you've got a failing economy and, you know, your business is going under, what do you do? And so I think there's probably going to be more and more people that experience this kind of feeling. And I wanted to talk about it today because it's been just over a week since I've made this decision and needed to step away. And I have to say, I've kind of been under a little bit of a fog going, what do I do now? Like, you know what I mean? Because it's like you get into routines, right? And you've got meetings throughout the day and all this stuff. And now I worked from home. So it's not, you know, the same as going into an office. You know, I didn't have to relocate for a job. There could be a lot of factors that, you know, happen to people during this process, but still, there's a little bit of separation now. And then it's always a little awkward when you leave, right? Because like, but they're still my friends, but you can't quite talk to them. There's some awkwardness there. So I wanted to share a little bit about my personal experience because it's something that I'm going through right now. But there is this beautiful, side of the whole situation too. And that is that it opens up all of these possibilities. And I truly do believe that when you are brave, and when you say, okay, that situation no longer works for me, and you step away without necessarily having a safety net, I think the universe honors that. I really do. And you put yourself out there and you're just like, I'm not really sure what's next. Obviously, we're starting this show. There's some beautiful things that could come of this, things that I didn't have time to do in the past. Now I've got more time. And that's really exciting to me. So I wanted to bring you ladies in on this. Have you guys ever had, whether it's work related, something like that, something happened very quickly, you had to pivot and be brave?
Well, first I wanted to ask you, do you feel beaten down? Sorry,
no,
on the bee thing, because, so, and my point about that, other than the joke, the bee joke, was sometimes people have to make other people wrong. Right? Like if your employer doesn't like you anymore, then your work quality all of a sudden is wrong. Or, and I think the beauty of your bravery is that you can say, this is, I like to use, no longer a match. Like it's not a match for my skills, my talents, my passion, my purpose with the current employer's same ideas. So the blessing, another B word, the blessing from Betsy is,
my gosh.
I'm sorry, I'm all B in this conversation. The blessing is that your self-esteem is intact. It wasn't about you as a human. It was about a fit in a job situation, and that you can look at the bright side.
Bright side. Yeah.
All B words.
All the bees.
All the time. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
That was a little bee feedback. Okay.
I just wanted to say, Sunny, first of all, I really commend you for your bravery and your ability to kind of be resilient in a circumstance that for a lot of people who go through it, it's really terrifying to have something shift so abruptly without any warning. It just kind of came out of the blue, and you stood there and you got to the positive, to the bright side. I think there are many of us out here who struggle with how do you get to the bright side quickly. So I'm curious, how did you, what was your super secret sauce that got you to see the good in what was otherwise a not so good or less than optimal circumstance?
I think that part of this is that this is not my first rodeo. So I've worked for different kind of startup companies in the past, and there's always an underlying theme. Like I love startups because the potential is just enormous, right? The sky is the limit. Everybody, is working their tails off. And I love that kind of vibe. But the other side of it is company shift, right? And then they have different types of focus, and then you get investors involved, and there's all this other kind of stuff that impacts what it was originally like to be part of that group. So about 10 years ago or so, I had a similar situation happen, worked for a tech company, and totally blindsided, walked in one day and, they're like, we're going in a different direction. Here's your severance and goodbye. Yeah. And I was just, and in that situation, I put all my eggs in one basket. I was just working for that company, my tail off. That was everything. That was my all, my be all, besides my family, of course. But work-wise, that was it. And I had learned from that experience, as painful as that was, because there was a lot of tears shed even in that moment, that you can't necessarily do that. If you're going to have this kind of lifestyle where these companies kind of come and go, you need stuff in your back pocket. So ever since that first experience, I've always had other projects, always done other things on the side. And I think that definitely happened, because the first thing I thought is, what am I going to do with all my time now? And I'm like, oh, well, I run a podcast network. Okay. And a lot of stuff I haven't been able to do to really support that business and grow that business, I am now doing. Right. Oh. And I will continue to do. And then fun projects like this that I was like, I'm just going to put it out there and be like, I want to be part of this. I don't know how I'm going to make it happen, But obviously God knew.
Yeah. Amen.
Gonna
Amen.
pave
That's how
the
that
way.
works.
It's gonna
We're
clear
gonna-
that plate. Sonny, I'm
love it.
clearing the plate for something new. There you go.
Exactly. So I think all of that helped, the
Yeah.
experience, and then having other things I could immediately go to. My husband's been amazing with this, honestly, because I have his support. And I talked to him beforehand. I'm like, I'm gonna make this choice. I don't know how you feel about this. And he's like, I've got your back. It's fine. You know,
Cool.
you need to feel valued and appreciated. And if you're not getting that, you'll get that somewhere else.
So I
Got
heard
your
three things. I heard
Back.
got your
Got
back.
your back.
And I heard three things. You drew upon previous experience and recognized it wasn't really about you. It was,
Yeah.
something that just needed to be right time, right place.
Yep.
You had support, someone who had your back, which for some people, they may not see that they have that, but almost all of us have someone that can have our back in a time of huge shift and adjustment. And the third thing is you just kind of looked for it. You said, wow, I've got more time now. Well, how do I choose to use it? As opposed to waiting for your time to get sucked into the drama and the negative and the bleh. You just said, done with that, moving on. And I think those are three really hot tips for our listeners who might be going through some abrupt change in their lives. Those are things we can take away and do something with. Shane, what about you? You got a comment on this? We're closing out the B segment and heading into yours soon.
Well, it's funny. I just think about when people make brave choices, they always say be brave. So I'm just curious, did you have a mindset of being brave before you attacked this? Before you got this news?
Well, no, but one thing I always tell my kids, I always go back to, I'm always teaching my kids, right? I got 4 kids. I always tell them, and you guys have probably heard this saying before, like life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
And I see people ruin their lives and just dwell in this sense of negativity without even considering the positives that can come from something. So, it was a shock. There was a lot of sadness. And here's the other thing. I'm letting myself grieve that because it's like I'm losing some friends because they were like family. A lot of those people were like family or close friends to me. So there's some distance there. Not that I've completely lost my friends, but it's always different when you're no longer working for the same company. Right. So, I'm allowing myself to grieve that process a little bit. And I think that that's healthy. And then just knowing that doesn't have to define who I am. That company, nothing, not one thing defines me, right. And that I can learn from those, just like I learned from the first job, right? I learned not to put all my eggs in one basket. I'm going to take so much from that whole experience, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything, and use that to be better at my job and to be a better person. So I just put that kind of spin on it. Not super easy to do, but it's working, and yeah.
So congrats to you, Sunny, and to any of our listeners that are dealing with that kind of an experience. And I'm going to shift our gears now. We're going to segment 2 with our beautiful and talented Shay Sparks, who is going to give us the R word of the day.
Well, in the spirit of keeping it real, I have to say, Sunny, I just give you a shout out for having the just the wherewithal to share your story, the vulnerability, thank you, the transparency for sharing what you've been through, because I feel like whenever we share our stories, others can take wisdom from them.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that. And again, keeping it real, I'm going to talk about resilience and another R word, another R word out there. So we're going to do like Betsy, and we're going to do all R's. I'll see if I can pull that off. Yeah. So in respect of being brave and resilient and vulnerable and all the different things that as women we are, one of the things I've noticed is how hard it is for us to acknowledge ourselves and how resilient we are, how brave we are. We are so good at acknowledging another woman, like, way to go, good job, good for you, pat you on the back, support, which is awesome, which is why we created this, is to support and uplift. And yet, how often do we do it for ourselves? So I'm going to ask, and I'll kick it off, but I'm going to ask all of us to just take a moment to think about one thing that you can acknowledge yourself for being resilient. So I'm going to acknowledge that my life changed about 6 months ago when I took a leap of faith. And I'm going to say the word retired because it fits with R. But to be quite honest, I didn't really retire. What I did was I decided to shut my business down. That was safe, that was secure, that had income coming in. And I said, I need and want and deserve more.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to make a bigger impact on a lot of people. And I decided to take a leap of faith and moved across the country, shut my business down, and went fully all in on committing to creating what's next for me. So for me, I am just going to take this moment and acknowledge that it took some major bravery. We'll get back to that word, but also the resilience to keep going.
Mhm.
And I love what you said, Sunny, about taking it's the 90% of how we respond. It's not about react. React happens in the moment. When it happens, it's how we respond to it.
Yep.
So I'm going to pass it back to Betsy and say, Betsy, how can you acknowledge your resiliency?
Well, thank you. And I really reflect the same back to Sunny and back to all of us about the journey. Gratitude for everybody sharing what's true. But I retooled my entire life in the last year. And I went from personally identifying with my job of being the mother of a camp experience network that raised money for charity, and shedding literally and physically that off to become an artist that uplifts and inspires the world through creativity and kindness. And I had to re-identify who I was. When people said, well, who are you? I had a brand new story. And I didn't say I'm the mother of Camp Experience Network, which I have said for 17 years. I mean, it isn't just like a little thing. It's real. And I had to say, I'm a person that believes art will save the world. And I do that through clothing and workshops and kindness and travel and fun things. And I love uplifting and inspiring women, like with our Underwired podcast. So I will acknowledge that some days I cry and I mourn having this life that I thought was controlled because I generated it all, and giving God the glory to say, what is my next thing? Who do you want me to play with? How can I serve you really big? And letting go of something that had been just, my entire identity. So I'm going to acknowledge Betsy, which should have been in the B segment. I'm going to acknowledge Betsy by saying she has been brave to listen to my soul and to take action toward a brand new palette.
Nice.
That is beautiful, Betsy. Thank you.
I've never
Thank
said that
you
out
for
loud.
sharing
It's
that.
really cool that you asked.
Yes.
So all you people, we're asking you to, we don't have you recording, but we're asking you to ask yourself, because this is a really good exercise.
Absolutely.
It's a lot of fun.
Lindsay, I'm going to throw the ball to you. How can you acknowledge your own resiliency?
So many ways. I love the resilience word. It has been in my life for a very long time. I'm going to choose something maybe just a little bit smaller scale, because like both of you, I have retooled, moved, done a whole bunch of things and conquered a lot. But I think the one thing that really galvanized my resilience was being able to go through the death of my mother. And not be sideswiped by the sadness or the letting go, and being able to be present and with love and joyful laughter, honestly, throughout an entire process that otherwise could have been awful. It was unexpected. It was not planned. Obviously, is it ever? But at the same token, this was really unexpected. And I feel like I don't know, got stronger by being truly myself and truly present, and not looking at what isn't or what wasn't going to be because she was leaving this earth. It was more like, oh, I get to be part of this experience. And it was beautiful and it was lovely, and I miss her, but I'm far better off as a result of going through it the way I did. So if anyone's ever wanting to hear about how I did it, I'm happy to share, but it was cool. So
yes.
That's
what
beautiful.
I'm hearing is that you were able to rejoice in the process.
Good R word.
Yeah,
Yes.
another R
I
word.
could rejoice. I could reflect, and I don't know if there's a good R word for just laugh.
Yeah.
Really, how do you make God laugh? Tell him your plans.
Mm.
Best line ever, right? So
Yeah.
just going through the unplannedness with humor, and just my mom and I giggled probably more than we had in the last 10 years in the course of about 6 months. And it was just awesome to have that experience. So
I love that. Clearly you were rejoicing together before
you.
you even knew. So that's awesome. What a gift that you were able to share. And Sunny, I know that you have so many bravery moments. So feel free to, if you want to share this one or another one that you want to acknowledge your own resiliency.
Well, what first came to mind, obviously there's a lot that I'm going through now, but what first came to my mind is being a parent of younger children, right? They will make you resilient really fast. It is a sink or swim moment. For those of you that don't know, I have 4 kids. And at one point when they were all popping out of me, I had
that's a visual
kids.
right there.
Not
Okay,
at the same time. They're not the same age.
Well, 2 happened at the same time because I have twins. So I really was popping them out.
You are bountiful. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, there we go. That's right.
It's just, they're a little bit older now. They're some are in elementary school. I've got, middle schooler. So they're still somewhat young, but every day, I'm noticing they're really starting to form their own little personalities and their own little quirks. And all my kids are very, very different. And so how I interact with them has to be different as well. They're different people, right? Even my twins, like night and day, they're identical and they look exactly alike, but they're very, very different people, right? Every day I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, how am I going to be able to manage this? This was so much easier when you guys were little and, you didn't have such strong personalities and stuff. And now they're all coming out. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like this isn't like a physical, this is a mental parenting thing, not a physical parenting thing, like when they're little babies, right? So I have to give myself some grace every day because sometimes I just lose it. Like my one son, love him to death. So he in the order of the 4, he's the second oldest. So I've got 2 boys and 2 girls. The girls are the twins. So he's kind of my middle child, even though I don't really have a middle child. It's kind of like my middle child. And he is very quirky. I mean, this kid, you guys, I love him. I don't know, I don't understand a lot of him, honestly. But just a quick story. He's very particular about his clothes. Like, oh my goodness. I used to be able to just go out and buy him clothes and then he'd wear whatever. Oh, those days are long gone. I have spent 2 weekends now going out with him alone to try to find shirts. He needs t-shirts for school. The kids wearing the same thing over and over again because he's so particular. Now, we have gone to like 5 or 6 different stores in these 2 weekends and have seen a plethora of fantastic boy shirts. Okay. And here I am in the stores going, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? He hates everything. It's just like, no, you don't know my style. I'm like, then please tell me what your style is. and he can't articulate it. That's another thing that we're working on. He just gets frustrated and mad. He can't articulate, certain things. And so this has made me very resilient because otherwise I would lose my SHI, you know what? Yeah, I would just go, oh my. And it's funny because sometimes when I'm in the stores, I have that eye look with other moms who are like, oh, honey, I've been there.
Hey, I have an idea for you. Take him to the Goodwill. Go thrifting. You've already tried that?
Yeah, and then there's online stores that are essentially the equivalent of Goodwill. But Swap is one of my favorites. I'm gonna name drop. Swap is one of my favorite stores. We've done everything. But the thing is, he also is like a sensual kind of kid, so he likes to feel stuff. And then I'm like, oh, we'll get you fleece. I'm thinking all the stuff that I like that feels good, right? And then I hold it up, and then he's like, I don't like that. I'm like, you're wearing a shirt that's made of exactly what this t-shirt is.
Let's talk technical. The blend of the shirt should,
Oh my God.
So my kids make me resilient, Shay.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I love that.
That's awesome.
I love that.
So
and
true.
just being a mom, because I am not a mom. So any mom out there definitely has resilience, but clearly your body is also resilient, dropping those deuces like that.
Right?
Yeah, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah, dropping
totally different.
A different deuces though.
I do have to mention, since we're on fashion, my daughter, who's a fashion designer in Milan, her look is bra-less. So she doesn't own a bra. She doesn't believe in bras. She wears just because that's her game. And, and I grew up with a mom, you had a training bra and you had your real one. So anyway, because we were talking about kids, I just thought with the name Underwired, I bring up the bra-less style.
Nice. Nice. Love that.
Awesome.
And I'm gonna throw it over to Lindsay now, who's gonna take on our last letter of the day, which is what, Lindsay?
The letter A.
A.
Yeah, like A for Andriotti. Oh yeah, we know that one. I love the letter A. It's, obviously the first letter of the alphabet, but it also means it has a lot of words. I mean, if you ever go into a dictionary, there are a lot of A words. And I've been playing Wordle. I don't know if any of you have been doing Wordle every day. A is one of those letters that comes up often. But today, I want to talk about A in terms of being action oriented. A is for action. And funny, I think action can be really driver, move into action, get things done. We call it a GSD, get stuff done. But I wanted to talk about action that's more soft, and the action that actually is good for your soul so that you can be better in the driver mode. And I was going to talk a little bit about the power of active meditation. So I know all of us are meditators in differing ways. And many people who might be listening have either A, tried it, B, hated it, C, love it, do it all the time. There's so many different things that when I ask people about meditation, what they generally will say is, I don't know how to quiet my mind. And I like to say, don't bother quieting your mind. You're never going to get it really quiet. It's trained to do so many things that are, blah, blah, blah. So the best you really can do is to focus your mind on something and really practice the focusing element. So one of the things that I thought we could do today is just take a minute to talk about meditation and how we use it and what we do with meditation. If we have time, which I don't know that we will because we've been really long in the tooth on this particular episode. Maybe I'll save this for a future one. We'll do a meditation in another one. But I think I'm just going to talk for myself. I like active meditation, and how I do that is either in a swimming pool or by walking. And what I will generally do is just move my body in a rhythmic way and focus my presence in the here and now. It's almost like if you can focus on breathing and walking at the same time and tune out everything else. That is meditation. And it's amazing how it can shift immediately my energy and how I feel. I also find it to be very connecting to nature, especially when I'm taking a walk and I'm just present, walking and breathing walking and breathing. And you start to notice that you're almost just like breathing in everything that's around you. I love to connect with nature. So that's one of my active meditation modalities. How do you guys do meditation? What do you do?
Who are you calling on?
I'm going to go with Betsy. Go, Bets. You go.
Oh, no, we were going to go with okay. I, like you, have been doing walking meditation. I have a practice I do that comes from our friend Kathy Hawk, where I do a check-in with my body, mind, and spirit every day. So that is kind of a prayer / check-in to be present in my day. But then I've really been digging on this walking meditation and listening, this wild thing called listening to the chatter of my angels, listening to what God has to say, listening to what my heart wants to talk about, and just having time that's not electronic device driven, not on a phone call, not for anybody else, just for me. And so I've been doing this new game called Tell Me What I Need to Do. So today I said, I need an idea for a certain thing for my business. And I just started walking. And by the end of the walk, I was like, this is totally what I'm going to do. And it just came in. And it was, it was like, thank you, because I asked my big God and I received clarity because I was walking and just breathing, like you said. But I'm afraid of nature. So I always watch out, because there could be nature that tries to get on me. And, I like nature, but don't get it on me. So, and my last thing is I save worms. Now, I know those listening might think this is weird, but in our neighborhood, people water and the poor worms, they go out and they think they're in a beautiful lake and they're having fun. And then everything dries up in Colorado and these poor worms are out in the street and they can't get back to the grass. So I stop every time I see a worm and think, if I was that worm and I was stuck out on that terrible concrete, somebody should save me. And so just, what would Jesus do? He'd pick up a worm. So what would Betsy do? I'd worm save. And today I had 5 worms that I saved. So it's just kind
worm
of
saver.
As natural as I could be as a touching a worm. So I'm going to now go to Shay.
Okay. Shay,
I love that you're a worm saver. That sounds so you. But you don't like to be in nature, but yet you're a camper. That's just so.
Yeah, but I camp in hotels.
I love it.
Go
I'm a glamper, so I totally get that. So for me, I have 2 active meditations. One, since I have now moved to the coast of Florida, I love ocean therapy meditation. Just walking in the sand, listening to the sound of the ocean, and just kind of what you had mentioned, Betsy, just asking God, what is it that I need for you? What do I need to know today? And the other thing I love to do is journal. And I will write every question that I have come to mind, or I will just write down my aspirations or my affirmations, write down anything that's bothering me. And there is something so extremely meditative about that I lose track of time. And there could be 20 minutes go by, there could be an hour go by. And I have learned in the recent months to set an alarm or I will get lost. So
very good.
Those are my active meditations.
So that was awesome. Affirmations with an alarm. 3 A words. Well done, Shay. That's so good.
A top score.
I can remember those. Yeah. Sunny, how about you?
Well, I think I need to make more time to do this because there are some things that come to mind, but I don't feel like it's on I don't want to call it a schedule. That sounds bad too, right? But like, I just need to make more time for this to happen. And hey, I've got more time now, guys. Yay! But I do want to kind of tag on to what Shay said about affirmations. So one of the things that I try to do every day is I have like a morning affirmation that I read. Do you want me to read it? Actually, it's pretty short.
Yeah.
Please.
Okay, let me pull this up. So this is what I say. And I'm usually like just kind of in a meditative state. Like right now I got a bunch of lights on me, but I like it to be dark. And then I just connect with God. And this is what I say. I say, today is an incredible day. Success, prosperity, and abundance in many different forms have naturally found their way into my life today. I gratefully enjoy their manifestations throughout my day and happily share these blessings of abundance with many others in order to bring happiness to their day as well. And then I go through some I am statements. And sometimes it changes, but I say, I am happy. I am healthy.
Yeah.
I am wealthy. I am secure. I am loved. And I'll go through anything that I'm feeling. What do I feel like is missing in my life right now? I'm a big advocate of stating what you want and then manifesting that reality. So if you want to feel love, say, I am love. I am loved. And then that, my experience has been that happens, that finds, you just have to say it. There's so much power in our words. That what was that one thing as kids? They say something, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That is the biggest lie ever. Words are so powerful. And we have control over this, and we can have incredible things happen when we just tell the universe, tell God what we want to have happen in our lives. It truly is that simple.
And I think what you're saying is you're putting it in a positive, affirming way that it's in the now. One of the things that helps things come faster is if you don't focus on what isn't by, asking for more, but you actually state it as though it's already happened.
It's already there.
So
it is.
Another A word, act as if, and really just be in the now. I am so grateful for all the abundance and love that is in my life right here, right now. And that brings more. It's just more. So, yay, you guys are all really good active meditators. I'm so proud of us.
Well, we've had such a fun show today. I hope you have enjoyed all the answers to the prompts, the B prompt, the R prompt, and the A prompt. And hopefully you'll see how the love of Underwired uplifts and supports all of us. And so to end, we're going to have a segment that's going to be a standing segment called Wow, and it's Women of Wonder. And, we all just kind of realize that there's women that affect other women if we choose to. And we want to share some of those stories. To begin, I want to tell you the definition of wonder is surprise mingled. I love that. Surprise mingled with admiration caused by seeing something beautiful, unexpected, unfamiliar, or inexplicable, which would be like magical. So the first woman of wonder I want to call out is our friend Justine Toms. She is the founder of New Dimensions Radio. So if you can imagine with your imagination eye, back in the days of the hippies in San Francisco, she had a cassette recorder with her husband, and they would go around and talk to thought leaders with their cassette recorder and ask them about what's happening in the world. And when all the new thought was coming and all the peace generation and all this, she would go and interview them. And then she started making cassette tapes of these interviews and selling these cassette tapes at the festivals of all these thought leaders. And that turned into New Dimensions Radio, and she has interviewed everyone. Like, you name a thought leader, she's interviewed it. She has a library that Stanford University has of all these thought leaders, and she is still just a part of GSPN. She's got a small podcast, she's got a cafe, she's got her radio show, she's been on PBS for all these years. She is really a woman of wonder. And I think what I found most wonderful about Justine is her heart for service. He believes every interview is about uplifting the person she's talking to, and she does her homework. She stays in the background. She's a super great inquisitive interviewer, but she doesn't take over as the star of the show. She really shines her light on others. And so my first women of wonder for Underwired is Justine Willis Toms, and we ask all of you to keep that in mind, and we'll talk about at the end how you can tell us about a wow woman in your life. But girls, quickly, because we've had a long show, Shay, who is a wow woman that has affected you in your life?
Well, I'm just going to go from what happened this morning, and I'm going to say my friend Lindsay on this panel. So she had a great call and definitely uplifted and supported me today.
Awesome. So we got one vote for Lindsay. Woo! Okay. It's not a contest, but we all can say Lindsay. Okay. Shay, don't say Lindsay.
Okay.
That was Shay. She said Lindsay. So Lindsay's already been taken as our woman for the day.
I know.
Sunny, who is your wow woman?
Oh my goodness. Okay, this is gonna sound silly. Can it be one of my kids?
Yes.
Yes, of
Absolutely.
course.
My
Yeah.
daughter.
Yes.
Okay, so Ainsley, my daughter, is my wow woman because she's one of my twins. And she just handles everything so amazingly well, like with complete grace. Even when like it feels like the sky is falling through and everyone's yelling, she is my voice of reason. She's very calm, cool, and collected. And she like every night she wants to cuddle with me and just like she'll send me like because they have their own little iPad things and she'll send me a message, Mommy, it's time to cuddle. Like she grounds me in so many different ways and just reminds me, like even when my life is just like insane and she'll be like, Mommy, let's cuddle. Like it's exactly what I needed. So I know we're talking about like adult women, but like she's the
Love
first
that.
one that came to mind. So Ainsley is my
Okay.
wow woman.
Oh, I want to come visit you and
I know.
share
I'm
the
so-
cuddle.
Yes.
We're way past
We'll
cuddle
cuddle.
days.
We'll all cuddle.
Okay,
I
we're
know,
gonna come
right?
to
Okay.
California and cuddle. That will be our C word, California cuddle.
California
Okay,
cuddle.
Linz.
Oh
Linz, who is your
gosh.
wow?
It's going to sound a little weird and I don't care. I'm happy to say this. My women with an EN of wonder are all of you. This foursome that is put together, GSPN and Underwired, you guys are just magical. And I really am always filled with awe, awesome sauce, excitement, thrill, adventure whenever I get together with you. So I'm going to just say, and because it's our first time saying it, you are the women of wonder. So thank you for
that was so
helping.
much fun.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do a regular woman. Justine is my like fancy, professional
Fancy
woman. But
woman.
I must say, I'm celebrating the passing of my, what I would call my other mother. And maybe many of you listening had your biological mom, but you had another woman that really was your mother in some kind of way. And Betty Elliott passed away at age 96. This summer, and I got to see her and take her a milkshake. And you would think I gave her $1 million. She sat with me and said, "This is the best milkshake I've ever had." And I got to have an hour with her, and she was cognizant and fun. And we talked about the old days and growing up with her boys and her daughter, who is my very best friend that passed away at lupus at age 33. So her daughter, Mary. So she is now with Mary. And her husband and her great dog, and she's in heaven. So Betty Elliott, shout out as my other mother. You done good, sweetie. So we hope you've enjoyed this. And so in our social media and on underwired.live, our website, you're going to see opportunities to nominate your women of wonder. And who knows, we could call you, have you come on the show, tell us a little about your wow, because we want to make this show all about you. It's been a fabulous day here at Underwired, BRA, and Women of Wonder. And we can't wait for you to hear and see our next episodes.
Yay. See you next time, everybody.
I just wanna love you.